Well, hey, what's going on? You have to let me know if you can hear me. Chat. We might have a Fowler coming on at some point. I'm not sure. We'll see. Hope your night's going well. Reds down 2-1 here. Top of the ninth. Ryan Helsley. I think he's only blown one save all year. Thanks, John and Carolyn, for confirming that you can hear me. It's great to know. Hope you guys are having a good night. What you guys? I was kind of getting everything ready to roll here. What did you guys think about the Friedl play? Did he have a play on that ball? Oh, here we go. All right, one down. Nate. I'm just gotta see. Yeah. It's brutal. I've always wanted robot umps, but having to watch Elly and the strike zone that he gets all year, it just brings it to a whole nother level. Yep, Blackmore. That's where I graduated from. Well, there's two down. Yeah, it felt like Friedl got a bad stat. I mean, it was still a tough play. I mean, like, I think what that ball hit, like, what was the ball hit? 105.7 off the bat. I'm not gonna. And it's a little bit more of a Buck problem than a Friedl problem. But yeah, I mean, you would kind of expect him to usually make that play. 100 right at the top of the zone. Oh yeah, Sadek bringing up. I forgot about that. Fairchild near home run off Helsley earlier this year. Yeah, what a brutal night. Yeah, Debbie, it's not been the most thrilling baseball. That 2-2 pitch was fun. Sheesh. I mean, how are you supposed to hit that? Come on. All right, there we go. Sorry, folks. You're going to get the 4-minute intro because I got a lot of bells and whistles I got to clean up here. So, Reds lose 2-1. We'll be back in 4 minutes to talk about it.
Bench to bench. Change into the air to deep right field. Back goes Clemente. It's the save. He's done. Get out of here, baseball. He's gone. Oh, my God. Can you believe it? Johnny Bench has tied it up. The Cincinnati Reds win the World Series in 4 straight. It was a sweep. In the dirt. It's a wild pitch. Here comes Foster. The Reds win the pennant. Larkins won the game. That ball is fair. Cincinnati's ahead. 2 games to none. Welcome, Joe Randa to Cincinnati. Adam Dunn has done it again. Benzinger backing and calling. And the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds.
Marty, yes. This is Adam from Milwaukee. Hey, Adam, how you doing? I'm good. How are you? Good. Do you think Scott Hatteberg's a good player?
Dunn up there with the bases loaded. The outfield deep and around toward right, and the 1-0 on the way to the plate. Swung on. Long drive. Right field. And this one belongs to the Reds.
And a high drive. Hit back into deep right field. Junior has just knocked the door down to the 500 club. Benson's first home run is a walk-off winner. That ball had a family.
And De La Cruz is, oh my goodness, look at this kid run. My, oh my. That is a triple.
Matt McClain's first big league bomb. Spencer Steer's first big league hit is a home run to straightaway center field. Joey Votto's done it again. The pitch. Votto swings high in the air. Right field. Yes! He pointed to the dugout to say, I told you. That is Joey Votto's 315th career go-ahead ribby. Only Johnny Bench had more as a Red.
And I can't tell you how much it means to play in front of everyone here in Cincinnati as a Red. What a gift. What a tremendous gift. So thank you. Thank you.
I think I can speak for all of Reds country. Joey Votto, thank you.
High drive, left center field, racing back to the line, Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? He did! He did! Reds win! Win! Liner to right field. Genius, the first Red ever with 4 home runs in a game. Can you believe it? In the air, down the right field line. Doesn't have a chance. The Reds have won on a 3-run home run on opening day by Ramon Hernandez. A strike away and out away is Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first, and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed a no-hitter. Oh, gosh. Are you kidding me? Holy moly, the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the Reds win. What a dream beginning to a career of Trey Bruce.
Well, hey, what's going on, friends? Welcome into Chatterbox Reds. Reds fall 2-1 to the St. Louis Cardinals. Nick Kirby here. Trace might be joining at some point. He's taking care of some stuff with the old Chatterbox. And speaking of the devil, he knew he was calling. Got to put this headset on now.
Dude, is my mic even working?
Your mic is working. You
All
sound
right.
wonderful.
I mean, I tried to log into this link for like 10 minutes and my computer's telling me that it's not accepting my camera or my mic. But then I'd go to check the settings and it said it would. So here I am. I listen. I watched the 8th inning all the way through, then realized about halfway through TJ Friedl's at bat that I was late. Came down here. Is the game over?
The game is over. The Reds fall 2-1.
Did you already run the intro? Is that where we're at right now?
I already ran the intro. They got the whole 4-minute shebang. Yeah. If we could restart this show so I can save some time editing tonight, that would be great.
Perfect. Yeah, let's do that now. All right, Nick. Another loss. I was hoping we could get to 80 wins, and that's seemingly becoming more and more difficult to do. 9-7 now, I guess, turns into what would that be? 8-5. I don't even know. I'm trying to do math on the fly. It's a bad idea. But here's the thing, Nick. I actually have a positive. This game was a positive for me. I'll tell you why. I would rather it have gone the way it did tonight and they lose, and I know people are like mad about whenever I say things like this, than if Brandon Williamson would have gone out there and given up 5 runs in 3 innings, and the offense would have scored 9 runs and they won. Now, I know some people are going to take that the wrong way, and they're going to be like, oh, there they go. These guys are spinning it every which way you can. Call me whatever you want. I don't know what you've said so far in regards to obviously right before I jumped on here. I truly feel that way. Brandon Williamson looked great, and after that happened, I was like, you know what? Whatever happens at the end of this game, I mean, it happens. Just turns out that Buck Farmer gave up some base hits, and are we supposed to be mad about it? Justin Wilson's supposed to come in and save the day, and kind of did, I guess. I mean, I don't know how you would forecast that, but that's my overall thought on the game. How are you? Do you feel the same way? Do you feel differently about it? Looks like you moved on to basketball season, so that's good.
It's the only shirt that was clean. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, like if Ahmed Rosario comes in and hits a pinch hit grand slam and Luke Maile was 3 for 4, but Brandon Williamson only got through 2 2/3 innings and walked 5 guys. I mean, like, I'm not gonna feel. I mean, I guess in the moment you might be like, oh yeah, this was nice. We're 3 games below 500, but the grand scheme of things, I mean, yeah, Brandon Williamson. I have a rundown here. I had Brandon Williamson, and pretty much that was it from the game. I don't really care about much else. I'm with you completely.
Well, I do care about the fact that Maile, I guess, not Maile, Marte. You have Maile. You have Maile in my brain here. Marte's still a guy that I guess we got to figure out something. Or maybe we don't. Maybe he just starts this season in AAA next year, and you start to figure out what kind of player he is. And if he continues to progress and get better, then he comes up to the big league club and does what he kind of did last season for next season, which kind of sounds weird. So there's still important things to watch in this team outside of just kind of your starting pitchers that you're hoping that it will go into next season. But I would say Williamson is by far the most important aspect of this game tonight. And I was trying to think to maybe I'm going too crazy, too fast, but like whatever, how it seems in life all the time, you look back on things and you're like, man, I never would have guessed that this is the actual way it all would have turned out. Like I thought that this was going to be the right way, and this turns out to be the right way. And sometimes, like, you look back at old high school, your graduating class from high school is the analogy I'll use, and you're like, wow, like that kid actually ended up doing this, and that kid ended up doing that. And you just didn't see it coming from a mile away. Well, Brandon Williamson ended up being what maybe we had hoped that Nick Lodolo would be. Now, I know that's crazy. That's crazy. But I'm going to paint a picture, which would be absurdly ridiculous to think about. In 2 years from now, if Brandon Williamson is like a really good number 3, and he's just steady Eddie, you know what you're getting out of him. He's not going to be maybe a bona fide ace, but he's just going to be pretty good. At this point, if I told you that Nick Lodolo was going to be a solid number 3, he was going to be healthy, he's going to be available, I actually think that people would take it. Am I crazy?
I think your comp was right. I think when you went to Nick Lodolo, it was too far. I think Brennan Williamson might be what we thought Graham Ashcraft was going to be. I think that's more the line where Graham Ashcraft felt like a guy that was going to be a legit bona fide starter. And he still could be. He still has time. I don't think that. I think Williamson reaching like what we've seen out of Lodolo at stretches where he's a all-star caliber pitcher in very, very small samples. I don't know if I see that, but I do agree with you. And we're kind of all over the place a little bit here at the beginning. That's okay, because it kind of goes hand in hand with something I had at the end of the show. But I think it's a talking point here. So the Reds promoted Chase Petty today to AAA. And what you just talked about how, it doesn't feel like you get there with the paths. It felt like that was what it was going to be with the offense. It felt like there was so many options. It's just who's going to stick and who isn't. And right now it feels like no one or very few guys stuck. But on the pitching side, I mean, there are so many options right now that you're just hoping that I want my head wants to say 5, but I think it's a lot more than 5. You're hoping that 6 or 7 of them stick as legitimate big league arms, and you can mix and match and have a guy down at AAA for depth for a while, or move someone to the bullpen, or, shuffle guys around. But Chase Petty getting to AAA, and I don't want to go too overboard on this, but I did not see this promotion coming. And this promotion to me makes me think there's about no chance they're going to sign a starting pitcher this offseason. Them promoting Petty wants them to have another option at AAA for at some point in 2025. And I think this move absolutely signifies they are not going to add a pitcher. They're just going to roll with what they got, and they're going to hope that 5 or more at times that they need kind of stick as the season goes on.
I think that they've decided internally that they think that they don't have the goods until 26, and people are going to hate that. But I think internally they feel that way. And I think they're trying to set themselves up to put themselves in a position where they're going to, groom a lot of these guys, hopefully next season, to where you're going to be a competitive team. You're going to be a team, in my opinion, that would hopefully scratch and claw, and you'll be right around a pennant race and playoff team. But when I've always talked about, well, what is it going to take for you to be one of the best teams in the National League? What is it going to take for you to be a team? And again, the Dodgers is such an exception to the rule, so I don't really like using them. But what does it take to be the Orioles? What does it take to be just where you're not even fighting for a playoff spot? You're more or less fighting for the fact that are you good enough to get through a couple rounds of the postseason? Let's face it, it's probably 26 until we get to that spot. And we're all hoping that we're there. I don't even want to say it's a foregone conclusion that in 26 they're going to be there. And I'm not saying that 2025 doesn't have the ability to have a special season as well. Listen, a lot of these guys that we are hoping would progress in 24 to set us up for 25, none of them, not almost, Hunter Green, yes, almost none of them panned out. And that's truthful. I mean, I'm not even counting Stevenson into that mix, because I never thought Stevenson was a part of that whole let's figure out if they can stick or not. It really is the guys that we talk about on a consistent level on the show all the time. So for all intents and purposes, the Chase Petty promotion, in my opinion, does give them the ability to next season feel like they're not rushing him to the big leagues. And also it gives them more opportunities that if guys progress a little quicker than they thought, that there wouldn't be a stigma attached to bringing them up too soon. And I don't know why that exists in the first place, Nick. And I'll also openly say, if anybody's proven that can be kind of a thing, is Rhett Lauder. I don't know if Rhett Lauder is 100% always going to be a guy right now, Nick, but I'll also openly admit, if we were in a postseason race, God honest truth, I'd much rather have Rhett Lauder out there than 2 or 3 of the guys, and I'm not going to mention their names, we know who they are, that get the ball right now. And that's just based off the fact that I think they're better pitchers. And I know they haven't been in the system as long. I know that they're not supposed to go up through the ranks that fast. but you draft them in the first round for a reason. And that's kind of where I'm at. Petty was a first round pick. Rhett Lauder's a first round pick. Chase Burns is a first round pick. And the truth is that those guys more or less probably have a faster track than the other ones that have to prove themselves. And I put that in quotations throughout the minor leagues. I think Chase Burns, again, to be clear, I really do think that his stuff is ready to go from day one. Maybe you want to throw him in AAA to make everybody feel better. That's fine. But if it just comes to pure stuff, Chase Petty clearly has it. It's just a matter of whether or not he can be consistent enough. And that's the biggest question mark of any of these prospects. So I'm with you, Nick. 25, in my opinion, is going to be an interesting year from the standpoint of what the Reds' outlook looks like. And the offseason's a big telltale sign of that. And I don't think they should sign a starter. I think that they need to shore up the offense personally.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right. Here. I'm happy to be here.
There we go. That's the one I wanted. No. I only have that as a one person. All right, never mind. Trying to have a scoreboard on there for you. We'll have to do that next time. I agree to an extent. Like, I don't think that like 2025 is off the table by any stretch.
No, I don't mean to come off that way either. I just don't think. I'm not trying to be pessimistic, Nick. I'm just saying I inevitably know going into next season we're not going to be one of the best teams in the National League. We're just not. I don't think we're ready yet. Can we compete for a wild card spot? Yes. But do I think we're going to run away with the division 8, 9, 10 games like the Brewers did this season? No, I don't. But I do think that they could be that in 26. I do think that.
I think they could be that in 2025, but the key word is could. Yeah. I mean, I think it's I see so much conversation going around, and it's fun, and I get it, and the Reds need to make this move. The Reds need to make that move. The Reds need to make this move this offseason. And, like, I think we all agree, like, they should make some moves. They should try to improve this team. But the Reds could go out and sign Juan Soto this offseason. And if they don't get better production out of their core and healthier production and flip some of maybe the luck in the one-run games, it doesn't matter who you sign this offseason. Like, the core has to be better. Now, the big thing is just, is it sophomore slumps or is this who they are? And a lot of those guys, it's really hard to have a definitive opinion one way or the other. So, I mean, I would like to see the Reds go out and sign some stopgaps. I've mentioned several times, I think Eugenio Suarez would fit perfectly to kind of help you be more competitive in 2025, but you don't have to sign someone that's a big, long investment. You don't have to block Noelvi Marte or whoever else at third base. I think you go out and sign a bona fide outfielder that to a couple years that, isn't going to, change anything, or maybe even a guy that could help you multiple years down the road when you are better. But it doesn't change the fact that the Reds have to have their internal guys. And when I say internal, that's including guys that are in AAA right now. They have to all play better. They all have to stay healthier, and they have to get a little bit better luck, or it doesn't matter what they do this offseason.
Well, the concern I have and the question I would have is what is the core? Because it seems like inevitably this franchise has a core and then it fades away and they become folks that we're hoping and praying that they could become average or above average big league players. Well, let's face it. In order for the Reds to be good as a small market, and any small market team, the core has to be great. And I know that sucks to say out loud, but that's the truth. Elly De La Cruz appears to be great. Okay, that gives them a chance. But let's also not kid ourselves. CES, Matt McLain, or Marte, which I'm not holding my breath on Marte, but I'm not giving up on him either. At least one more of those guys has to be great. Not even good. They have to be great. But what is the core? I mean, it's got to be Elly, yeah. But outside of that, God's honest truth, I'm not putting pen to paper on what the names of these people that we're calling the core are.
Well, you hope it's McLain. You hope it's Christian Encarnacion Strand. You hope at some point it's Marte. And I think we agree he's not there right now, but it'd be silly to give up on him, a top 25 prospect that's played 100 big league games at this point. TJ Friedl, Tyler Stevenson, they're probably the core. I mean, I think that's most of it, and you hope you could supplement those guys. And then you know what the core is pitching-wise. I mean, there's quite a plethora of guys in Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, and Andrew Abbott, and I think Brandon Williamson's really close to etching his name in there, although it's still a small sample on him. I think we feel really good about Rhett Lauder. I think Burns better be a part of the core, or the core can be burned to the ground. So yeah, I mean, I think that's the core, but those guys have to play. And Jamer Candelario, for better or worse, is still signed for 2 more years after this year. So he's a part of the core as well, at least for 2 more years. But you have to have better production out of that. It doesn't matter what you do this offseason. It matters zero what you do this offseason. In fact, honestly, if those guys if that core that I'm talking about doesn't perform better next year, you'd be better off signing no one this offseason, because all you're going to do is put yourself further into contracts that are going to, by the time that you catch up and perform well around those guys, those contracts start looking bad if they're multiple years. So, yeah, that's just kind of where my head's at right now with the couple weeks left here in the season.
Yeah, I mean, well, let's be honest. Doing these shows right now is difficult because there's really nothing to discuss that's relevant within the next 2 weeks that has to do with 2024. The biggest question mark is going to be what the Reds internally feel like they could do with certain guys and whether they can extend them or not. And they're going to have to. In my opinion, they're going to have to risk one side of the ball or the other. If they're going to, and it's already become apparent to me, Nick, that they're going to err on the side of trying to develop pitching, starting pitching specifically. If that's the case, then they're going to have to go out and find some guys that can hit the baseball consistently. And I know that that's not easy, and I know that averages are down, and I know that you kind of get on folks like myself who say, oh, this offense is terrible, 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 and you bring up the run score, this, that, and the next. But we are longing in my opinion, needing a bat that is not just average, above average. I would say is damn near great. And I know those don't grow on trees, but that's kind of why you need to buy or pay, maybe even overpay, while you have some of these young guys under contract that are obviously significantly undervalued. Because if you don't go out and just overspend while guys are undervalued, then what are we saving the money for anyways? You know, and let me be clear. I'm not going to get up in arms about this on September 11th. Shout out, obviously, to Never Forgotten. But I got to see what they do this offseason before I even really get into trying to develop some semblance of a take on what they should or shouldn't be doing. Because I don't think they've tipped their hand of what their really plan is at all. I think Candelario was like a hopeful fix for what they expected to be a young core that was going to take the next step. Well, that young core didn't take any steps. So now you're scratching your head thinking to yourself, what do you do now? They have a tough offseason. I think they have a damn tough offseason. Last offseason, they didn't have a tough offseason at all because they could just play look at all these young guys. They can't do that this year with this fan base. So we'll see what they do.
I think Rick says it best here. They need to make a couple moves in the offseason just in case they find themselves in an advantageous situation by the end of May or June. I think he's absolutely right. I think, but again, it has to I think it still has to strike a balance of not signing just an absolute reckless contract. And let's be clear, the Reds aren't going to do that. So we don't even really have to worry about that. But having said all that, I mean, again, I look at the Reds offense. The Reds have the exact same OPS as the Cardinals. They're 20th in baseball right now. And that's not great. That's not where you want to be, especially when you play in Great America Ballpark. But again, when you roll the ball back out in 2025, I mean, surely you're going to get more production in 2025 out of Matt McLain, Christian Encarnacion Strand, Jamer Candelario, Will Benson. I'll even throw Blake Dunn, Noelvi Marte in there. I mean, TJ Friedl had a bad year this year offensively. Jake Fraley. I mean, surely you're going to get better. I mean, the only two players that have really even come close to outperforming is Elly and Tyler Stevenson. So surely you're going to get more production out of that. The question is how much. But again, if you just get, I don't think you have to get that much crazy more production out of those guys with the kind of pitching that the Reds have. So that's why I still think that they're there, but they're going to need things to go right. I hate to say that.
The only devil's advocate I would be, are they going to get the same production out of the bullpen that they've gotten the last few years?
That's fair.
If they don't get that, then even if a couple of those guys do bounce back a little bit, you're still going to be fighting the fight of getting over the hump. We need great players. The truth is that if Elly De La Cruz was on the Dodgers right now, and I know that this is terrible to say, he'd be just another guy to a certain extent. Like, we wouldn't, the Dodger fandom wouldn't be talking about how Elly De La Cruz has to be their savior, because he doesn't have to be. He wouldn't have to be. And unfortunately, that's the swimming pool that we're swimming in. That in a way, I get pessimistic. I get sad about the whole thing because I see the whole scope of how Major League Baseball is. And then the next breath, it's like, hey, this is sports. Anything can happen. I can, that's why we love it. I would just openly say that they need to make an internal decision. That is, we're going to either extend a couple of these guys and spend a lot of money on, we know who they are. And I would say right now, I'm okay with taking a chance on Matt McLain. I am. Now, I don't love it, but I'll also openly say, if there was ever a time to come into Matt McLain's office and say, hey, Matt, we still believe in you. We're willing to give you a Hunter Green type contract, right? We're going to get you 2 or 3 years after your free agency becomes available. You're probably going to be 32 years old, 32, 33 years old. Not going to probably be, he's probably towards the tail end of his career. We're willing to give that to you now. Or you can take the chance if you'd like and outplay this, basically rookie contract. But that's up to you. You get hurt again and you're never going to make, quite frankly, anywhere near the amount of money we're going to offer you. So I'm not opposed to it. And that's the types of things that this team is going to have to do with this payroll to win. And they're going to also need these draft picks that they've taken, and the Cam Colliers and the Sal Stewarts and all those of the world, to come up through the system, and you keep replenishing it. And that's what you've argued all along, and you're not wrong. Shout out to the Dayton Dragons, by the way. I don't want that to be lost on me. I want to say this about the Dayton Dragons game. That was the most fun I've had at a baseball game. I honestly, I don't want to say ever, because I just, there's been a lot of games I've been to, but it's right up there at the top. Like, just the whole way that it was just ebbs and flows, the energy in the crowd. I always wondered, why can't Major League Baseball figure out a way to be just as entertaining between innings and all the things that minor league teams do? Like, what is there? Are they? I guess they're just too big league. They can't do some of those things. Like, my kid was having a blast, and I just started thinking to myself, why don't they do this at the Reds games? Like, it just would be. It's simple. This stuff is simple to do, but that's here nor there. I would just say, if you got a chance to go to a Dragons game, beautiful ballpark as always. They've even rented that. I don't know if you've been there recently. They've completely revamped that downtown area. It was really cool. And I will say to you, thank you for making me go, because I don't think I would have gone unless you were like, you have to go. First and third, nobody out, couldn't get them in. That sucked, but they didn't really deserve to be in there anyways, to be honest. The guy got a swinging hit on the ground. They got a broken bat double. Here nor there. What is she talking about? She's talking ruthless here. Rumor is Trace did the wave. No, I did not do the wave. No. I don't do the wave. Listen, the wave is a joke, with all due respect.
Are your kids ratting you out like mine do? My son, I'll be like, don't tell your mom this. And he just runs and tells his mom.
That's your problem. You don't tell him that. You can't say, don't tell your mom that. I did not do the wave. No, absolutely not. That is completely hearsay. Fake news is what they call it.
The Dragons are a premier minor league operation.
Yes, they are.
There's not many AAA teams that have as good of an operation as they have. So the best. Yeah, I am really looking forward to tomorrow. Hopefully the Dragons can win, and I can see another game on Friday, and hopefully they can win both, and maybe you guys can see a game. I think they would get one game in Dayton next.
I don't know. Did you see this on the broadcast? The little scuffle after the game?
Yeah, I think one of the Lake County players said something to Jay Allen.
Yes,
I guess someone kind of said something something coy like.
Hey,
Nice
I was
fun.
just gonna
Nice
say
fun,
you
bro.
got some stuff going. Yeah, I was gonna say you got some. Your first game is gonna be a little tense. I'm just gonna tell you there was some words that were spoken back and forth.
Well, we'll see. You know, I'll try to do a little Big J journalism. Maybe see if I can get some
Yeah.
information before the game starts. Hey, was there any? I saw a little scuffle.
Yeah.
We'll
Hey,
see.
I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but Cam Collier was coming off the field and he dropped a. I'll leave the profanities out of it, but he basically said like, that dude's career's over. Anyways, there was a couple explicitives in there, but
That guy's career's over. Someone on the captains.
I think he was basically inferring that there was probably some like 26-year-old out there playing single A talking shit. It was kind of a low blow. I was like, damn.
I mean, Cam, that team's got like seven of their top 30 prospects on that team, man.
Yeah, no, listen, they're shortstop too, man. That dude can pick the baseball. Golly day, he's a good player. Of course he made an error, quite literally after I text you, but
Yeah,
man, I mean,
he's their number five prospect.
Yes, he can play. Golly day.
It's going to be an uphill battle tomorrow. The starting pitching matchup is a guy that struggled in Daytona this year for the Dragons. I guess they have no one available, and Lake County's got some guy with a 2-something ERA.
Yeah.
So it'll be an uphill battle, but hey, I'm excited nonetheless. Should we do a box score recap?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, why not?
It's not long. It's not long, I promise. But I did write the words down, so I kind of want to get them out. Reds at Cardinals, game 2 of 3 at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Brandon Williamson threw 5 brilliant innings, 5 hits, 3 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. The only run that he allowed was a solo home run to Nolan Arenado. That was very close to fan interference. Brandon Williamson now a 2.08 ERA through 3 starts. More impressive, in my opinion, only 3 walks in 13 innings pitched since he's returned. Lance Lynn, well, he continued his domination of the Reds. The Reds have 2 earned runs in 3 games against Lance Lynn this season. The Reds' lone run came on a steer double and a 2-out RBI single from Santiago Espinal in the 5th. The game was tied at 1 through the middle innings. Cruz got 5 outs, looked really good, struck out 4 batters. Suter got an out, but Buck Farmer struggled in the 8th inning. He gave up a leadoff single to Michael Siani. Siani stole second base. Then Buck Farmer hit a batter. And then Paul Goldschmidt doubled. Absolute rocket, 106 off the bat. Friedl maybe could have had a play, but it would have been a pretty heroic play, I think. But anyways, Reds fall 2-1. Reds now 71-76 on the season. But Trace, are you ready for the DSC deep drive of the day?
Born ready. Unbelievable. You know what?
Back-to-back.
11
days.
He hit one last night too?
He did.
Wow. Has he got a chance? I mean, some are asking. I mean, that's hot. He's getting hot. Back-to-back days. The deep drive of the day is sponsored by DSC, Deep South Commodities, and it's off the bat of Austin Hendrick. I would assume that he was I wasn't here last night, but I would assume he was the deep drive of the day last night, because anytime Austin Hendrick hits a home run, it's worth celebrating. It's worth celebrating. That would give Charlotte, believe it or not, Chattanooga, not Charlotte.
We get a new affiliate, Trace?
No, I just assumed they were playing Charlotte because Chattanooga's chances of winning are not 63% ever. I mean, turns out they won the game, so shout out to them. But I just assumed they were playing a team from Charlotte. Then I looked and I said, RCT. Well, that's not Charlotte. So turns out CHA is Chattanooga. It seems like they could have a better 3 names. But DSC, Deep Drive of the Day. They're a leader in renewable commodities, specializing in biofuel production, used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales. Visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information. Hey, man, we're getting some of these people are roasting us on the chat, telling us that we got Christmas colors on. Some people are making fun of me because I'm wearing an Eagles shirt. Hey, listen, times are tough right now. Okay, anything that's in the closet that I can wear, especially that has a hood on it. Also, I think I've come to the realization that these short sleeve hoodies are elite.
That's all I wear.
They are elite, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if anybody's had these, but you should try one out. You can wear these like this time of the year. They're great. But anyway, I know people don't tune in for fashion advice. I don't really have any other thoughts on tonight's game, to be honest, Nick. I just think that this offense is what it is. They have a lot of inconsistent players. And unfortunately, the few guys that I actually like, Ty France is one of them. And I don't know what his role is going to be in the next season, but I think he hits the ball hard. He looks like a professional hitter. So outside of that, there wasn't a whole lot of bright spots in this game.
Yeah, not a lot. Marte did steal 2 bases, so that was good to see. That went from 6 to 8. So we haven't seen Marte run a whole lot. So good to see. He was on base twice, so that was good to see as well. Jonathan Indy had a couple hard hit balls, so good to see. I know he's been really scuffling of late. And then, as mentioned, Fernando Cruz, he's really pitched well. He had that one bad opener outing, but his last, 5 or 6 times, he's thrown the ball really, really well. So shout out to Fernando Cruz. I thought he was dead this year. I've always been a believer in him long term, but I thought his season was toast, and he proved me wrong. He's pitched really, really well. So shout out to Fernando Cruz.
You need to find something in life that you're as confident as is when Fernando walks off the mound after getting a 1-2-3 inning. You ever seen him? I mean, that dude, there's nobody that's more confident in the world than Fernando Cruz after he gets 3 outs in a baseball game.
Can we give Noelvi a little bit of that?
Yeah, and just go rub some elbows. I tell you what, I think if I'm Noelvi, I said it once, I'll say it again. I think we need to ditch the yellow stuff. Just saying. Let's just try it out.
He played really well in that tournament for Spain, the World Baseball Qualifier, wearing all that yellow stuff. So I don't know.
Wasn't yeah? Who was he facing?
It was like Germany or something.
Yeah, I'm sure they got a lot of.
I remember waking up at like 5 o'clock in the morning to watch Noelvi Marte play 2 years ago.
Sick. You're a sick bastard.
The other thing I got before we get into the end of the show stuff that I found pertinent: Hunter Green through live batting practice today. It seemed like all went well, so he plans to throw again on Saturday in Minneapolis, and then if that goes well, he will start next weekend against the Pirates. So if you do the math, that gives Hunter Green 2 more starts. So that's exciting to see. Love to see Hunter Green get 2 more starts for sure.
No, he should be. I think he needs to throw as much as he can. So I'm glad to hear that. Glad to see that. So I'm sure others disagree, but I'm not even going to go down that path tonight. Game time. Won't you want me to tell you about my game time experience, Nick?
I would love for you to.
I mean, they're asking for experiences. Share your experiences. Well, I have firsthand experience. I was thinking to myself, why in the world, now no disrespect to the Dragon season ticket holders, why in the world would you have to become a season ticket holder to get seats like last night, right? Like I get on the Game Time app, and within 3 minutes, I purchased tickets for $20, and I'm sitting 2 rows off the field for the Dayton Dragons game. And I'm thinking to myself, this is the biggest game all year. All year. And all I had to do was have the Game Time app downloaded on my phone. You know why? Because I downloaded it. I've used it before, and I realized I should keep it on my phone. And I used it for the Dragons game, 2 rows off the field, and I almost seen what I thought would have been one of the best games I've ever saw. But unfortunately, Jay Allen bunted the ball a little bit too hard. It was the right play. I love that play. We'll explain that another day, another time. Can't strike out first and third, nobody out. And unfortunately, Ethan O'Donnell wasn't able to get it done in the clutch with 2 outs. So, but other than that, Game Time was superior. Got my tickets immediately, had them in my my Apple Wallet in no time, and scanned in like every other person would have scanned in to the game. And you can also download the Game Time app and use the code CINCY, CINCY. You get $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. But yeah, like I said, it's just fantastic. It's a fantastic app. $20 off your first purchase doesn't hurt either.
Yeah, I'll add a little bit. I've been cruising the Game Time app, using their super easy to use interface. I know a lot of people this time of the year are looking for some Bengals tickets. The Monday Night Football game tickets starting at $85. If you look the rest of the year, that's by far the cheapest you're going to get. So if you're looking, that's September 23rd, Monday Night Football.
Who do they play?
the Commanders. So,
they'll destroy them.
Yeah, I mean, you got a chance for a win.
Yeah.
Got some good prices. And if you want to look ahead, you want to plan ahead, Bengals play in Pittsburgh on January 5th. Those tickets, $64 starting at. So you got some good deals on the Game Time app right now.
Yes, you do. Download it. Use it. 988 text call as always. If you have any issues, please don't hesitate to text and or call 988. And I want to shout out mantherapy.org. I know many people obviously use the 988. That's great. I love the chat. Chat's all over the 988. But mantherapy.org, they need some love too. So don't forget, you can always utilize the resources available on mantherapy.org. And help is always 24/7 help is always there. And it's confidential, as you have. And it's free. I mean, free, confidential, 24/7. Pretty solid. Just saying. Any other thoughts that you have on baseball?
Want to do some Reds MILB?
Yep. Let's do some Reds MILB. There's not much of it left, but let's do it.
Yeah. Well, Louisville, you'll still be tracking them for a couple more weeks. They still got they still got one more week after this week. This is the last week for Chattanooga. Could be the last 2 days, tomorrow and Friday for the other two teams, but we'll see. Louisville, they fall 5-3 to Iowa. Bats now 63-76 on the season. Jose Acuna threw 3 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs. He struggled since he got promoted, 7.20 ERA now through 3 starts. This guy had a 0.81 ERA at AA. Still really like Acuna. He's a guy that as we get into the offseason is Rule 5 eligible. I have to think he's going to be protected, but it would be nice to see him pitch well to kind of secure that here. His last, maybe, I don't have one more start left, maybe 2 more starts this season. Not a whole lot else on the offense. Jacob Hurtubise did walk twice. Avon Johnson, another guy, Rule 5 eligible. He's having a really nice year. His 12th home run of the season. He was 2 for 4. Reaver San Martin struggled again, gave up 2 runs. Shout out to Connor Overton. 3 shutout innings from him tonight. And then Chattanooga, how about that? They win 6-3 over Rocket City. They improved to 44-88 on the season. Only 4 more games left for our Chattanooga Lookouts in the 2024 season. Let's see if they can go 3-1 and avoid 90 losses. So shout out to them. But in really good news, Tyler Callahan was back tonight. I've been talking about all year. I really like Tyler Callahan. I think he's one of the sneaky top prospects in the Reds organization. He was on fire up until the end of August. He got hurt. He went on the IL, or he actually didn't go on the IL. I don't think they needed to put him on the IL because of where they're at roster-wise. But nonetheless, he returned tonight, and he was 2 for 5, drove in 3 runs. So really good to see from Tyler Callahan. As mentioned, our deep drive of the day, Austin Hendrick, home run number 11. Dominic Batelli, he was on base twice, stole his 43rd bag overall between Daytona and Chattanooga. And then Ruben Ibarra, 4 for 4, hit his 14th home run of the year. Then on the pitching side, Andrew Moore threw a scoreless inning, struck out 3. Good to see from him. He was the part of the return for Luis Castillo. And then Luis May, the flamethrower, he threw a scoreless inning, struck out 2, didn't walk anyone. That's good to see. That is your Reds MILB.
Good job, Nick, as always. For those that are wondering, please like the stream if you haven't already. Also, there's a podcast that comes out each and every single morning. We would very much appreciate if you downloaded that and gave it a rating and a review if you haven't already. But I also know that the vast majority of the people that are in here after a game like tonight are the OGs. I see them all in the chat, and I can see that the loyal listeners are still incredible to me. September 11th, it's amazing that it's been, 23 years now. Still remember exactly where I was, and don't want it to go unsaid, at least with me on a show, that it's still a day to remember and what it means to be an American. And I know that there are many times in our country where right now the political situation doesn't always help maybe the atmosphere and the culture that we live in, but we're very blessed to live in this country. And I just want to say that I'm very thankful for the men and women who protect us, but also the people that go out and work every single day to make our economy and all the really just the things that we get to enjoy on a night in and night out basis are available to us because people not probably, but people work incredibly hard to support those things. Just like this. I mean, let's face it. Somebody's probably making sure that StreamYard and vMix is working late into the night. There's some production guy working his tail off right now to make sure that some server is not going to break. We don't know about it, but we appreciate them. Appreciate all of you that support us each and every single day watching this show. I can't begin to tell you that I'm surprised. I really am. I don't know why, but maybe people think, oh, here goes Trace and Nick always saying this. Like I am genuinely surprised on baseball team right now that we're covering is just not really probably all that unbelievably interesting. We try to do our best, clearly, to bring up topics and conversations that certainly have relevance not only now but in the future. But the fact that many of you just come in here to support us, I think, mostly, and to interact with the chat is very much appreciated. So thank you. And Nick, thank you for jumping on here and at least, if nothing else, producing the night. I had to go out to Florence, Kentucky at 7 a.m. today. And I have to be back out there tomorrow at 7 a.m. So usually I don't wake up this early, and you know how I am. I don't wake up this early. So I'm going to be dragging tail the next few days. But you know what? So be it. Someone's got a tougher life than me is what I keep telling myself.
I'll be asleep probably about 2 hours when you wake up tomorrow.
That's okay.
Shout out to my daughter Emma. Today is her 7th birthday.
Nice.
Kind of makes September 11th a little weird in our house, to be honest. But but no, shout out to her. Love Emma, and she deals with a lot. Me watching baseball every night. So
yeah, no doubt. Your whole family deals with you working really hard on making this podcast a reality, and just making what we do at Chatterbox better. So very, very much appreciate you and your family. And you know what? Hey. Maybe the Reds can win 9 games and get to the 80 win mark. If they win 80 games, I'll what a wild year.
I'm on to next year, man. I'm on to next year. It's gonna be a good year. Reds are gonna be in a race. We're gonna have a great time. We're gonna be here every day for it.
I hope so. I don't want to have to get a humidor for those cigars I bought like a year and a half ago. So I think I'm on I think I'm gonna actually have to get one. So we do have another game though tomorrow. Who, what, when, where, and why.
Let's double check. Make sure the Reds haven't announced someone like they like to do at the. Oh, they have. Can you believe it, Trace?
I can. I don't know why they would, because TBD's been pretty damn good.
They wait till I make the graphic, then they announce the starter. It's like clockwork. But Jacob Junis. I'm excited to see Jacob Junis. This guy's pitched really well. He has a 2.82 ERA on the year. How about that? But the Reds will be going up against Sonny Gray. Unlike Lance Lynn and Palante, the Reds have had a lot of success against Gray this year. He is 0-2 with an 8.68 ERA against the Reds. He's given up 3 homers in 9 in the 3rd innings pitched. But Gray comes in pitching pretty well. Last 2 starts against playoff teams, the Padres and the Brewers. 13 innings, 1.38 ERA, 1 walk, 11 strikeouts. Gray relies on mostly 6 pitches, a 4-seamer, sweeper, cutter, sinker, curveball, and changeup. That sinker averages 93, fastball averages 92. Active Reds are 19 for 67. Rosario, 6 for 21. Ty France, 2 for 9 with a double. Elly De La Cruz, 4 for 6 with a homer. All 4 of those hits, extra base hits. And Spencer Steer is 3 for 5 with 2 homers.
Maybe they'll pitch around Elly and they'll actually call him balls. That'd be nice. But that's another conversation for another day. You know, it'd be kind of cool if balls were called against our best player and he walked and got on base and stole bases, but instead they call him strikes. So figure that out. Another show. That'd be the umpire section. Yeah. Nick. It's 11-12. Some people make wishes at 11:11. I personally don't make wishes. But if I could wish anything, I would do anything the next September 11th. Be Emma's birthday. And for her 8th birthday, we're just absolutely in the middle of nothing but heated baseball games. We need it. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I went to that Dragons game and I left that Dragons game thinking that is why I love baseball. I love baseball for what I watch. There's not a better game in the world that when you have a meaningful moment and you've worked so hard for so long and you get down into the last few innings of a game, there's nothing more intense than the time between pitches in big spots. Just the build of the crowd, the roar of the crowd, the moan and groans of the crowd, the complaining about every pitch, people locked in. I need it. I just need it one time for the Cincinnati Reds. And I know we've gotten a little taste of it, but I want a full bite. I'm not saying they got to win the World Series, okay, damn it. But I do, at least if the minimum, let me win a playoff series. Just let me win one. Because I've continued to walk out of stadiums heartbroken. Now, I also admit I wasn't heartbroken last night because I have not been watching the Dragons all year. But I did have a little pit in my stomach from like just this same feeling of walking out of a stadium and thinking to myself, this has to turn eventually. And I'm going to choose to think that it will, Nick. That's what I've taken away from last night. It's a beautiful game. It's just not been played all that beautifully this year by the Reds, and at some point it will. That's all I got.
Take care, everyone.